Naam, waziri mwandamizi na mkuu wa baraza la mawaziri Musalia Mudavadi leo anatarajiwa kufika mbele ya kamati ya seneti kuhusu ugatuzi, na akiwa tayari amewasili kuhusiana na mahusiano kati ya serikali kuu na kaunti kwa majadiliano muhimu kuhusu makubaliano ya ushirikiano kati ya serikali ya kaunti ya Nairobi na serikali ya kitaifa. Kikao hicho kinaendelea kujadili kwa kina mkataba wa ushirikiano unaolenga kuboresha utoaji wa huduma katika jiji la Nairobi, hasa katika sekta muhimu kama afya, miundombinu na usimamizi wa rasilimali. Mudavadi anatazamiwa kueleza nafasi ya serikali haswa ya kitaifa katika utekelezaji wa makubaliano hayo pamoja na hatua zilizopigwa hadi kufikia sasa. Wakati huo huo, maseneta wanatarajiwa kuibua maswali kuhusu uwazi, uwajibikaji na mgawanyiko wa majukumu kati ya serikali hizo mbili, huku baadhi wakitaka kuhakikisha kuwa maslahi ya wakazi wa Nairobi yanalindwa kikamilifu. Je, makubaliano haya yataleta suluhu ya kudumu kwa changamoto zinazokumba jiji la Nairobi? Tuvuke mubashara kwenye bunge la seneti ambapo kikao hicho kinaendelea kwa sasa. Tusikilize yanayojiri.
We only have 24 months to execute this cooperation. What if the next president comes in and probably wouldn't want such an agreement or would want to enhance it? What are the safeguards when it comes to this agreement? And why 24 months? Why don't we just put it within the law? We agree it's transfer of functions, proper public participation is done, and then nobody is objecting on Nairobians getting a bigger share of any funds so that they can implement, make sure it's secure, sanitation is fine, infrastructure, nobody is objected. What I would object myself, and I believe, Chair, you do so too, is that we need a clear guideline within the parameters of the law. That is my submission, Chair.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. I think next time, please, I want you to ask that question so that the Prime Secretary, Cabinet Secretary is asking for, because there's another meeting. So we want to take the shortest time possible. So I think I will hand over to you, Honorable PCS.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and I also want to appreciate the comments and queries raised by the members. I think they're all very useful in getting clarity around this thing. First of all, I just want to say that, Honorable Chair, it will be important that the concept white papers be shared with the committee, because a lot of the issues that are being raised are actually captured in the broader documentation of the concept. So to make it easier for all of us to be on the same page, we shall facilitate so that all the concept white papers are availed in detail to the committee, and this will help in clearing some of the concerns raised. The other thing that we indicate is that within the framework of assessing, this framework, remember, it's a cooperation framework. It's not the detail. The detail about implementation will be chaired by the governor of Nairobi. So when you are having a cooperation framework, you do not go into the detail of the implementation in a cooperation. You establish broad principles, and then the details of implementation are then worked out systematically. So I just wanted to make that clarification. I want to reemphasize again that the figure that we talk about, 80 billion, this is assuming we had the ideal situation. We would have to have 80 billion on the table. Okay, so we have costed that this cooperation framework for these specific areas, to have it implemented, then it would get to 80 billion. If we break down and ask ourselves, so what does Nairobi County get out of the revenue share? All county governments get about 400 billion Kenya shillings over the period. If you go backwards and then you ask yourself, then it is clear Nairobi County would not be able to raise this sum of money. So we need to find a different way of supporting them. And it's on this basis that we say that Nairobi being the capital city, it is the image of the entire nation, and that is why it's captured under the Urban Areas and Cities Act as the capital city, and it will call sometimes for special interventions. So the principle behind this framework is exactly that special status of Nairobi. And therefore, collaboration becomes extremely essential. Nairobi, as a city, entails 60% of our GDP as a country. Therefore, we cannot continue treating Nairobi the way we have treated it. It calls for special intervention as a country, as a nation, to be able to give it that status. And Honorable Chair, I just want to say that if there's anybody to be charged, not in a court of law, but charged for either failure to act, in the context of omission or commission, I think there is collective guilt for the entire country. Because over the years, and this is a very personal observation, it may be right, it may be wrong, we have committed so much energy to the extent that we are not realizing, for instance, that Dar es Salaam Airport has become better than Nairobi Airport. That Entebbe Airport, after their extension, is actually better than Nairobi Airport. Rwanda Airport is better. If you go to Zimbabwe today, and Zimbabwe is facing sanctions from the Commonwealth, you land in Harare Airport today, it is now superior to Nairobi. You go to Angola, Luanda, their new airport is now superior to Nairobi Airport. I could go on and on. Go to Zambia, there's a change. Today, go and land in Zanzibar and look at the airport. So we have been living in past glory and not realizing that we need to invest in our capital city. Therefore, we need to have a clear and a strategy that can help us start correcting the situation. And therefore, when we talk about street lighting, Nairobi and others, they're already doing part of it, but they need help. We need to bring in the private sector. All these are captured in the concept paper, where we have shared partnership and engagement. When we talk of electricity, Honorable Kamar, on the last mile, it's amazing if we moved away from the CBD and now we went to Korogocho or Dandora, and we see how our citizens are connecting electricity in the informal areas. It is a time bomb. It is not right. We need to invest in better connectivity, more efficient, safer. And therefore, when we talk of this last mile, it is to get where the majority of Nairobians live. The majority of Nairobians are not in CBD. They're outside the CBD. We need to target and work for them. the issue of water supply